early as February.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just completed a very good meeting. I feel that we have revitalized the peace process and we've got the final status, the framework talk off to a very good start.
Today, the leaders took part in a service honoring slain Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. He was murdered 4 years ago by a Jewish extremist opposed to the Mideast peace accord.
And his work has grown to include peace education, beginning with preschoolers in the Model Peace Kindergarten. Mr. Jabbour is one of the leaders of the Palestinian community in Galilee and in the other parts of Palestine where Palestinians live. And he has written a number of books. 3 of them are available in a limited number here at the center. Mr. Jabbour is interested in dialogue. So what he's going to talk to you about in the limited time under his disposal is to focus on the problem of Nazareth, a very serious problem of communal religious conflict within the Palestinian community. In the question and answer period, he would be happy to answer questions on the peace process and the prospects of peace settlement. Mr. Jabbour.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm so glad and happy to be here in this center and to talk about one issue, which is, I do agree with Dr. Hisham Sharabi, it's very important, crucial at this time of our life in Galilee, in Palestine. But first of all, allow me to thank Dr. Hisham Sharabi and the Center for Policy Analysis for having me in this session and be able to meet you and to talk to you. In fact, I don't want to talk in a long way, but I would rather speak concisely about a problem, a burning problem, and other burning issues that we have. Unfortunately, it's not the only burning issue that we are living over there for more than 50 years. But I would rather leave some time for you to ask questions, because probably you have certain topics, and I am here as a person who lives there. And I've been living there not only after 1948, before 1948. As I was telling Dr. Sharabi, I was blessed and lucky in more than one way. One of these ways that I was born in 1935, and by 1948 I was already 13 years old, and at that time old enough to participate in whatever events happened. So 13 years old boy, still remembering or having many ideas and thoughts and memories of what happened even under the British. But this is not the topic of my talk today. Then, from 1948 until this very moment, I've been living in the state of Israel and interacting almost in every event that it is happening over there, which in fact you do know, and I'm sure that there are more than one thing that we can talk about. And I really do not wish anyone to live 50 years of his life in that, in the middle, in the center of the most terrible, awful conflict, long, painful, that has been going on for 50 years. But let me tell you from the very, very beginning what I feel. I feel that the Palestinian tragedy, it looks like it has no resemblance in history. It's one of the most painful tragedies, and I call it tragedy because I tried to find a name for what happened, but I couldn't find, except that we have to begin calling it a tragedy. Tragedy for many reasons, for its consequences, and for the length of time that it has been going. 50 years, I think it is half a century, Some people call it 50 years. I'm sure that I'm speaking here to a very respected audience who has more than knowledge and information. You are more informed about the history of the Middle East. And sometimes it's difficult for a person like me to preach the preachers. So I'm sure that any one of you can preach in this subject. But simply to tell you that whatever you have in mind and you would like to ask, I would be very happy to answer questions. The Palestinian tragedy is something special in our recent history. Almost hasn't happened in the last 100 years anywhere in the world, where I know many things happened in the world from the First World War and on, but a whole nation to be uprooted, just uprooted, taken from their places, from their villages, from their land, and saying for one reason or another. And even sometimes they did not ask their opinion. You just go. You don't belong here. This land is ours. Whatever basis they base their claims on it, but that's difficult. That's difficult in every respect. Yeah, to find yourself out of your country. And we Palestinians, we are putting question to the whole world. We want to know why. Why, for example, and I am a person who suffered from all this personally. I happen to belong to a Palestinian leader. Jabbour is a name in the Palestinian history, who lived under the Turkish regime and then struggled against the British mandate, and then to find himself entering in the Israeli period area until he passed away in 1981. A long history. I'm trying to write down his memoirs, which is a difficult task to do, but I hope that I can finish them and tell the world the story of Palestine. from a personal source of a person who lived the events. And you know, I'm continuing going in his footsteps, and now I'm carrying the banner. I hope that I'm not going to handle it over to my son, but rather to find an end to this conflict in my lifetime, and then I will be called optimistic. But the events that are happening in our area, in Galilee, which has been a part of the state of Israel since 1948, with an Arab majority over there, despite the fact that the Israelis are putting more and more settlements to overnumber us, and it seems that it's not working. Still, we are in numbers more than them. But recently, we are facing a real serious problem in Nazareth, which we never thought of 4 or 5 years ago, because Nazareth is supposed to be the first Arab or the largest Arab city in the Israeli Arab community in Israel. And we were proud all the time that this is the capital, the national capital of our existence as a Palestinian minority in the state of Israel. And it's not only a capital in the sense, the political sense, but in fact the cultural life, the educational number of its institutes and schools and doctors, all kinds of professions you can find that they are concentrated in the city, philosophers, writers, journalists, and so on. But recently we suddenly found out that we are facing in this important city a racial communal strife, never heard of in Palestine. And I think some of you are my Palestinian brothers and sisters here know, and we should witness in front of you, that Palestine has been known for generations. It's a land where all its inhabitants, Christians, Muslims, some do not remember that we also have a Druze community, but as a person who lives in a town called Shafa'amer next to Nazareth, where this town is composed of Christians, Muslims, and a Druze community living there for more than 600, 700 years together. And once upon a time, even we had a Palestinian native local Jewish community living with us. So we were in fact 4 communities. Even the different, you can imagine 4 different religions. Today they think that there's too much. But at that time nobody thought about it. That we thought we thought of ourselves that we are one people, one nation, the people of the same town. If you go in this world and meet some Arab, and he'll tell you, where are you from? I will say, Ana Shafa'amri. I belong to the city of Shafa'amr. You don't ask him if he's a Christian, Muslim, a Druze, or a Jew at that time. Even a Jew called himself Shafa'amri, the citizen of Shafa'amr. So Nazareth was also the same, a city, a very important city in every respect, historically and in the terms of coexistence, where Christians and Muslims lived together for generations. I mean, after the Crusaders, the history of Nazareth, where the Palestinian Christians refused to leave the city after the Crusaders left, decided to say this is their city. And of course, you know that the Palestinian Christians did not join the Crusaders. They did not agree. So on the contrary, it is the Muslims who imposed on them, you are going to stay. By no means, if any one of you think that he's going to leave, there's no way. And in fact, what we have now, Christian sites in Nazareth, it was the Muslim community who tried to dig out and to tell whoever is coming to look, where is the Church of Annunciation, where is Mary's Well, and where is this and the other churches. They would tell him, this was here, this was here. And until the Franciscans came in the 1600, that they began to develop the areas that were the old historical ancient Christian sites were based, were located. So this beautiful history of Palestine, and I mean it in every respect, the beautiful mosaic, we call it, of its inhabitants. And I would include the native Palestinian Jewish community in this mosaic until the Zionist movement began in 1897, when the whole issue of Jews in Palestine took another course. And it was not initiated by the local native Palestinian Jewish community in Palestine by all means. Even historically, we know that the Palestinian native Jewish community did not join the Zionist movement at the beginning. They opposed it until the late 30s and 40s and so on, because of many reasons, because they did not believe that this strange movement coming from Europe has something to do with their lives, and their lives were beautiful, normal. In my town, where a small Jewish community lived there, and my father and my mother were witnesses for this beautiful area, still speaking the most beautiful stories of how life together has been. We visited each other. I mean, the Christians would visit the Muslim family on the feast of Ramadan. The Muslims will visit the Christians on Easter and Christmas, and every community will go to each other's feast. Wedding ceremonies were mixed. We will go until today. I mean, in spite of whatever is happening over there, we still participate, share. We go to the funerals. We go to every occasion that happened with each other. And I was telling Dr. Hisham Sharabi, one of our beautiful villages over there nearby Nazareth, called Tur'an, until a certain pitiful incident happened there, you would find that a Muslim young man who is married, he will take a Christian best man. And it was a tradition. I mean, beautiful history. I have stories. I recorded some of these in a book that I gave to Dr. Sharabi. I wish I wrote more in Arabic that I wrote. That I'm now trying to recollecting the Palestinian memory, whatever I do, because it's very important that the whole world will know how we lived. And it continued on until 2 years ago in Nazareth, a certain small incident happened. I would like to speak a little bit in detail because this is an issue is very important for us. And we begin to think that it's crucial to our life, and I'm here to raise your awareness and attention and ask for your support and intervention, because we cannot let it go. You know, the municipality of Nazareth, which was under the great Palestinian leader, the late Tawfiq Zayat, who was the mayor of the city, a man whom we lost, really we lost. We can now feel his loss. He died by a road accident on his way to Nazareth. And he put a plan to develop the city of Nazareth, because the city of Nazareth is suffocated, really is suffocated. Its land was confiscated by the Israelis by waves of confiscation that left them no more land. Even now, they will have to build for their children. A big city of 60, 70,000 people have no land to build for their younger generation. The roads are so narrow, and it is an international city, as you know. With the coming of the new millennium, we are expecting 1, 2, 3 million tourists coming from the Christian world as pilgrims. And they were thinking, as a municipality, we are going to put all these people. The roads are not enough, no hotels, everything. So a plan was called the 2,000-year plan of developing Nazareth, to widen the streets, to build new hotels, and make all the services that was. And that was important for our economy, because all the time the Israeli, I call it the Israeli business tourism. There's a big department there because it pours billions of dollars into the government's pockets, and we don't see anything of this money. The tourists do come to Nazareth with their cameras, take a shot, and continue to go to sleep in Tiberias, spend their dollars there. And we will get only the picture of the stones, as we call them, you say. But recently the municipality of Nazareth under Tawfiq Zayad began to think for the future and to plan. And one of the plans they did, there was an old school in the center, in the heart of the old town, facing the Church of Annunciation, you know, the big Church of Annunciation there. So the engineers and the architects and the planners thought, let us put down this old school, which is a beautiful school, an old school which was built by the Turks. To tell also that we had education, not only by the Israelis or like my father told the British, he told them, do you think that we were waiting for you to educate us? We were educated long before you came. We can educate you. But this is what is happening, you see. Most of the world does not know. There was an old school, and which was used as a high school in Nazareth. But you know, an old building which the municipality, in my own opinion, this is my personal opinion, mistakenly pulled down. They shouldn't have pulled it. Now, it's a Turkish school. I mean, a school built by the Turks. And the Turks, when they built their school, left aside a place for the pupils who want to go to pray. I mean, it was not a mosque that was pulled down, else I'm sure that the municipality of Nazareth will not make this action, will not take that to put down the mosque. It was an old school, and to my opinion, it was left as it is and rehabilitated, as most of the, we go to Europe now in Germany or everywhere, they are spending millions of dollars to rehabilitate an old house. That would be a beautiful architecture, old Palestinian architecture. But that was their thinking. What was their thinking? Let's make space. We don't have a square in Nazareth. When you walk, so those who were in the city of Nazareth, when you drive there, oh, what a terrible, you know, I live only 12 kilometers far from Nazareth, and it will be a torture for me that day if I'm going to drive to the city. Because you come, the streets are jammed, and by the way, the main road from Haifa and other cities to Tiberias pass through Nazareth. That's a highway, and the highway is not enough for 2 cars or 3 cars. So you can imagine all this traffic coming with the people of Nazareth. So the municipal said, let's have a plan, beautiful plan, you know, very modern. But sometimes in our modern life, we forget to take the needs of the people in consideration. We have all our thoughts on paper. So there were beautiful blueprints and so on, and they began the work, and the whole world supported the municipality of Nazareth in developing, preparing the city for the year 2000. So they pulled down, they brought the bulldozers, and pulled down the school, the beautiful school. By the way, I studied in a nearby school, not exactly in this old government school. I studied in a private school led by the Franciscans, which was called the Terra Sancta College, one of the prestigious colleges at that time. And, you know, we were taught in English because of the old British system at that time. And the school, the government school, was next to us, so I know it. I remember it. I used to go to play with the other children there. And one day I came there, and it was a spacious space, a square, just, you know, really it was like the lung of Nazareth. You can feel that this is the lung. Now Nazareth can breathe after this suffocation. Without knowing, without any notice, the Islamic movement in Nazareth, and supported by the other branches of the Islamic movement in Israel, and you know, the Islamic movement today is getting more and more support, and we know from where the support is coming, unfortunately. They are just occupied the area, the open space, saying that this was a kind of a holy shrine in this place, so the municipality has no right to occupy the shrine. And of course, probably you heard that in Palestine there's a lot of Waqf land. Waqf land is a land which was dedicated for the service of the believers, either Muslim believers or Christian believers. And this land is kind of holy land. Nobody is going to take, because it serves the interest of the believers, whether they are Christians or Muslims, and put their claim. And the municipality of Nazareth tried to treat the situation in a brotherly way, telling them, well, let's talk, let's so on, although they have no right to put their hand and to stop a project, a municipal project. I'm sure that if this happens happened in the United States, the police, the government will not allow anyone to take a legal action or to take the law in his own hands. And we have many questions. Why did the Israeli government, by the way, let me explain to whom the land belongs, because this is the basic issue. This is a school which was built by the Turks and supposed to be owned by the Turkish government as a Turkish institution. The Turkish government, when the Ottoman Empire fell down in 1918, the British took hold of their possessions, and what was a Turkish government land became a British land in Palestine. So it was in the hands of the Turkish government, now it was in the hands of the British, and when the Israelis came in 1948, it became a land which belonged to the Israeli government. So in fact, it is not Waqf, it is not the land of the municipality, it is the land of the Israeli government. The question why the Israeli government did not take action from the very beginning against somebody who took its land by force, to himself using the law, while if you go now and touch any piece of land anywhere in Israel, you will go into jail in 24 hours, we don't know. It's almost now 2 years, and the Israeli government did not take any action, and these people immediately put a huge tent, covered the space with a tent cover and so on, and claim it as a mosque. Of course, they invited all the Muslim believers for whom I have a great respect, and they began to pray there and threatened that anybody who is going to touch this place, we are going to make a bloody fight out of it. It's unfortunate. It's nothing heard like that in Palestine before, even when we had conflict. And I'm a person who is involved in mediating these conflicts, which I inherited from my father. We call it sulha, the old traditional Palestinian way of making peace. But I never heard of such a situation. We had conflicts between two families, two people, and we don't care if the fighters, one was Muslim and was Christian, or both Muslims or both Christians. But here, nothing heard of, nothing happened before, and the feud began to take communal dimensions, a racial strife between two brothers, which we never thought that it might lead. Until 2 or 3 years ago, the people of Nazareth were living like brothers. You will never know that in this city, and you never ask if somebody is a Christian or Muslim. This is the history of Palestine. Unfortunately now, we hear the question, are you a Christian, are you a Muslim? Where did this come from? We don't know. Father and my grandfather and the elders, how the people lived there, the stories of nobility and dignity and hospitality and all this. Unfortunately, what I see now in Nazareth, that we became the enemies of each other. The brothers who were living like brothers all their lives, now they are fighting each other. And what is more painful, that we left our crucial issue, our main problem, the cause of Palestine, which is there. Our problem is not where to build a mosque. It's not the issue that has to divide us. We can build a mosque anywhere, we can build a church anywhere. We can build a church on the top of a building, on the roof. You can build a mosque on the top of the mountain. But to take this issue as the issue of our life or death, and to live as people who lost their country, their land, their villages. We lost everything, and now we are struggling with the face of what we call the peace settlement in the Middle East. I'm sorry to tell you now, we are so busy that we have no time even to think about the peace settlement. We are busy in this painful, sorrowful conflict that we have no time to think what is happening there in Oslo, in Oslo A, B, C, D, or E. I'm coming here to tell more information about the situation, to tell my brothers and sisters who are here what is happening from a first source. I'm coming here to raise your awareness to what is happening and to ask every one of you, and no matter Palestinian, Christian, Muslim, or American, that to stand up and help us overcome the situation. And we are over there for 2 years unable to put an end. Probably your help, your support, your voice, to raise your voice, to tell both sides that this is not the way to handle the situation, that you have more important issues to deal with rather than this local. I don't see it of any importance whatsoever. If some people see it, that this is a matter of life or death, I don't see it like that. Because if we lose our cause, we will lose the mosque and we will lose the church too. This is what I wrote in many of our papers. This was my opinion. What is the use of a mosque? What is the use of a church? With due respect to all believers, of course, they have the right to go to church every Sunday morning, twice if they want, or to the mosque twice on Friday if they want. But what is the use of all this if we lose our existence? If we lose the land, the ground that we are standing on? The issue at stake is not the mosque and it's not the church. The issue at stake is the land, the ground that we are standing on. If they pull the carpet from below our feet, then all of us will fall. And I said, if we lose Nazareth, we have to bewail it. It will be a catastrophe falling on all our Palestinian dreams, hopes, and future. So this is why I'm here to ask all of you in his own or her capacity to do whatever, to write a letter, to convene, to meet as Arab American community or as Arab American friends or whoever is interested in this. And this issue is a concern for all of us, even if you are an American Christian or American Arab or an American Muslim. This issue belongs to it all because Nazareth, with its international dimension, it has an impact on Jerusalem. Then tomorrow the Israelis will say, look at Nazareth. They have a conflict over the holy places. Why will not they have a conflict over the holy places in Jerusalem? So what is the best solution is to keep it in the hands of the Israelis. So if any fight, if any conflict is going to be in Nazareth, the Israelis will rush in. We are the defenders of the faith, you know. Oh, kids, stay aside, don't play together. We came here to guard you, to protect you, and to the whole world. They will be the protectors of our holy places. It's a shame. I do admit that a person living there, if it happens, I will feel very ashamed that I needed the Israeli soldiers and police to come and separate between us. I hope it's not going to happen. Still, we have time. But of course, your support and your help will help us get out of this conflict as soon as possible. Thank you very much. I started here and I met you. This dialogue between the Palestinian people and the Israeli people long before our leaders, political leaders, thought of, before our statesmen began. And we, from the very beginning, we said the issue, the conflict in Palestine, in Israel-Palestine, has to be solved by the people. Because I didn't want to speak about Oslo today, because I didn't want to divert the focus from Nazareth, because we believe that all this government piece is a piece of paper. We call it in French a chiffon de papier. So whenever you are angry about it, you can tear it. Mr. Netanyahu on the aeroplane going back from the White River agreements back to Tel Aviv, while he was on the aeroplane, he said to his top aides, tear off all these documents, throw it to the ocean. That's the piece that we are talking about. What we tried to do in the House of Hope for 20 years, we put Jews and Arabs together.
I'm Wallace Sanders, and I worked for the Kuwait Information Office. Prior to that, I was the director of a nonprofit here in Washington, the National Council on U.S. Arab Relations, that works with Arab countries. And I found his remarks very interesting. There's so much attention on the high politics of the issue, the meetings in Oslo, but you hear so much less about the internal dynamics of either the Israelis or the Palestinians, and the Palestinians in particular. And I found it very helpful to learn about what's going on within the Palestinian community in Nazareth in particular, at the very grassroots level.